You've probably heard that phrase, mind over matter, right? Well, what if that wasn't just some motivational saying? What if it was a biological reality? Today, we're diving into the actual science that shows how your thoughts, your beliefs, and your emotions are constantly, and I mean constantly, shaping your physical health. Sometimes for the better, and sometimes for the worse.
So let's just start with this number, 2x. What on earth could that represent?
That is the increased risk of developing heart disease if you have depression. And that's even if you're otherwise totally healthy. You don't smoke, you're not overweight, none of it. This isn't just a coincidence, folks. It's a direct biological wire connecting a state of mind to a physical disease.
So that leads us to the biggest question of all, doesn't it? How is that even possible? How can something as abstract as a feeling, a thought in your head, actually translate into something as real and dangerous as heart disease? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look under the hood at how our bodies are wired.
It really all begins with our body's internal alarm system. See, when your mind senses a threat, and it doesn't matter if it's a real physical danger, a looming deadline at work, or just a deep-seated anxiety, it pulls a biological fire alarm that sends a signal through your entire system. So how does this alarm actually work?
Well, that fire alarm has a technical name, the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis for short. But you can just think of it as the central command center for your entire stress response. When your brain gets a whiff of danger, this is the big red button it pushes.
And pushing that button sets off this whole chemical domino effect. You can see it here. The brain sends a signal down to the pituitary gland, which then zaps another signal over to the adrenal glands. That's the command that tells them to start pumping out the infamous stress hormone cortisol. And boom, just like that, a thought, an idea, has become a physical, chemical event flowing through your bloodstream.
Now, for a short-term crisis, this system is a lifesaver. It's what you need. But the problem, the real modern-day problem, is when that alarm gets stuck in the on position. When you're dealing with chronic stress, your body's just marinating in cortisol, and that causes serious, system-wide damage. We're talking about chronic inflammation, which is linked to all sorts of diseases, damage to your cells, a brain that's literally less able to adapt, and yeah, even speeding up the aging process itself.
And this is how it becomes such a nasty, vicious cycle. Let's say you're stressed about something. That stress causes real physical changes, right? Your heart races, your muscles get tight. Your brain then notices these physical feelings and goes, whoa, something is wrong with my body. And that thought, of course, creates even more stress. As you can see in this diagram, that feedback loop just gets stronger and stronger.
So, if our thoughts can trigger this whole damaging cascade, it kind of begs the question, right? Can they also turn it off? Can they reverse it? The answer, based on some really cool science, is a resounding yes. And this is where we pivot from the problem to the solution, where we see how our beliefs can literally, physically shape our biology.
This quote from researchers at Stanford's Mind-Body Lab just nails it perfectly. The effect of any experience isn't just about the physical thing itself. It's about the story your mind tells about that thing. Your mindset is a key ingredient in the outcome.
And if you want proof, look no further than this amazing milkshake study. Researchers gave people 2 milkshakes on 2 different days. One was labeled this decadent, high-calorie, indulgent shake. The other was called a sensible, low-calorie shake. Now, when people drank what they thought was the indulgent shake, their hunger hormone, ghrelin, plummeted. They felt full and satisfied. When they drank the sensible one, their bodies barely responded. Here's the kicker. It was the exact same milkshake both times. Their physical hormonal response was driven entirely by their belief, not by what was actually in the drink. Incredible.
And the exact same principle applies to how we think about stress. If you have what's called a stress is debilitating mindset, if you see it as this toxic, harmful thing to be avoided at all costs, that belief itself can make the negative effects even worse. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
But here's the alternative, and this is the really powerful part. You can reframe it. If you adopt a stress-is-enhancing mindset, where you see stress as a challenge, as your body rising to the occasion, you can fundamentally change your biological response. The science shows this mindset leads to a much healthier cortisol profile, better performance, and in the long run, way better health outcomes.
Okay, so we've established we have this incredible power. The question is, how do we actually use it? So let's get practical and look at the toolkit we have to consciously start rewiring our body's response.
Exercise is one of the biggest levers you can pull. And this is so much more than just burning calories. Think of it like a biological reset button. It releases mood-boosting endorphins, it directly fights that chronic inflammation we talked about, it boosts your brain's ability to grow and adapt, and it helps you get the deep, restorative sleep that stress so often ruins.
And hey, it's not just about running marathons. Practices like yoga and meditation give us a way to consciously flip the switch from stress to calm. They activate something called the relaxation response, which is the literal physiological opposite of the fight-or-flight response. It actively slows your heart rate, deepens your breath, and sends a powerful signal to your whole nervous system that you are safe.
Okay, let's just spend a second on this slide, because it shows just how clever these therapies are. They work on two pathways at the same time. You've got the top-down path. That's your mind influencing your body. Things like reframing your thoughts or meditating can calm your brain's emotional centers, which then sends calming signals down to the rest of the body. But then you also have the bottom-up path. That's your body influencing your mind. Physical actions, like taking a slow, deep breath, send signals up from your body to your brain that tell it everything's okay, you can stand down. By working from both ends at once, you bring the whole system back into balance.
Now, for a really fascinating and honestly revolutionary piece of this whole puzzle, your gut. It's not just for digesting your lunch, scientists are now calling it our second brain, and for very good reason. This connection is called the gut-brain axis. Think of it as a constant, two-way communication superhighway. You know when you get butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous? That's your brain sending stress signals down to your gut. But here's the amazing part. That traffic goes both ways. What happens in your gut sends incredibly powerful signals right back up to your brain. And the trillions of little microbes living in your gut, your microbiome, are huge players in this conversation. They're not just sitting there, they are actively producing a massive amount of your body's key neurotransmitters, like serotonin, the happiness molecule. They also help manage your stress response and control inflammation levels all over your body. A healthy gut is, without a doubt, a cornerstone of a healthy mind.
Okay, so let's pull all these threads together. What we're really seeing is a huge shift away from the old idea of the mind and body being separate. We're moving toward understanding them as one single, integrated, and deeply interconnected system. This table just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you see the negative pathways, the vicious cycles that can run on autopilot if we let them. But look at the right. That's the empowering part. You can choose to engage these positive pathways. You can choose exercise to fight inflammation, choose a positive mindset to balance your cortisol, and choose practices that support your entire system. You have the power to jump from the left column to the right.
And that brings us to the most crucial takeaway of all. Your health is not a passive experience. It is not just something that happens to you. A huge piece of your physical well-being is being actively shaped every minute of every day by the stories and beliefs your mind creates.
And that leaves us with one final thought. This conversation between your mind and your body, it's happening right now, whether you're paying attention to it or not. So the question is, what message are you sending? What are you telling your body today?